Right.
Was there one that got away before you met Ralph?
Hmm?
Was there one that got away?
She was engaged.
You were engaged before Ralph.
Yeah, you were engaged before Dad.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about that.
It was a beautiful afternoon in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I was,
You were at a dance.
I'm alone myself in a park. I visited my aunt up in Indianapolis. Indianapolis was a fabulous city for me. Anyway, I bought some peanuts and I was walking along and I saw this drop dead gorgeous guy sitting on the end of a bench. So I sat down at the other end very casually, and then I was feeding the squirrels, and I said, would you like to help me feed the squirrels peanuts? And one thing led to another, and we went off walking around the park, and I don't know what we did, just walk around and talk and talk and talk.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out he was meeting another girl there, so he needed to move out of that area. I found that out.
You initiated the contact. He was waiting for another guy. He's like, I better take this one elsewhere.
Years later, I found out about it. Anyway,
That's funny.
we were out together talking to each other for 12 hours and 20 minutes, I think. And then he shipped overseas. And I spent the next year
They got engaged.
engaged to him.
Wow.
And writing letters. And I went to visit his sister.
And he took off for, the war.
Yeah, yeah. And you visited his sister?
Yeah,
In New
lived
York?
up in New York on the Hudson River. And I think she got out the big
Photo
picture album and was pointing out all the girls that he had dated. I think she was trying to give me a little signal that maybe...
Fair warning here.
Yeah.
He might be getting letters from a few people
Hey,
overseas.
but I knew I had true love. I was not the least bit
Yeah.
Worried. Yeah.
And then I went off to college and was still writing to him every day. And then in the fall, I got this Dear Jane letter
Oh.
and saying that he thought it'd be better if we called it off. And I was so mad.
Oh.
And I swore, I wrote to him, I said, I will be on the boat landing when you return and you're not going to get away with this. But but I got over that. And it wasn't just a few weeks later I met your grandfather, but we didn't date or anything at that time. We just met. And then in the spring, he started asking me out, and one thing led to another.
Where did he take you for your first date?
A movie called, a monster movie. Actually, he asked me to go to a football game with him, and I said, okay, just very close to where we lived. And as we were walking down the...
College football.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as we were walking down the street, he said, you have your ticket with you. I said, what ticket? He said, your season ticket to the football games. I said, I don't have a season ticket to a football game. He said, oh. So, well, he said, I don't think I've got enough to get you in. I said, well, maybe we go to a movie. So we went to a scary movie.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember what movie it was? Do you remember what movie it was? Or who was in it?
I used to know, but I've forgotten. Creature of the Black Lagoon.
Oh.
Really? That's great.
Oh,
A spook movie.
Yeah. Yeah. It gave us a good excuse to hold hands a little bit.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while he'd call me for a date, and I'd say, well, I'm sorry, I'm busy that night. I'd love to go out with you. And so he kept calling, and I was always busy. And I said, well, why don't you call me a little bit ahead? And he said, I'm not going to make an appointment for a date.
He'd call you last minute to go out, not make any plans.
I said, well, I'm sorry, because I'd really like to date you, but what can I do? And so finally he gave in. made an appointment for a date. That was the movie, and